Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to give it a few minutes for everyone to get connected to audio, work out any technical issues, as well as let any additional students trickle in. We should have an audience of about 30 today. So just going to give it a couple minutes and then we will get started to be respectful of everybody's time.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, I'm going to give it about 30 more seconds and then we'll go ahead and get started with some housekeeping items. All right, folks, so I know we should have some more students trickle in, and that's absolutely fine. I know with virtual events, things can take a bit to get connected, but let's go ahead and get started. So really quick, my name is Nicole Zauner, and I'm the coordinator of student programs and program impact within the Office of Student Engagement here. I want to thank you all for joining us for Grow with TTI. Blade Butler, the TTI territory manager, will be sharing a presentation on the importance of personal branding, as well as overviewing some exciting opportunities within his company. And he has brought his colleague, Erica, here with him as well today. Hi, Erica. So before we get started, I wanna go over some quick housekeeping items. First, please make sure to click the link in the sign-in box to verify your attendance for today's event and register for a Starbucks card to be emailed to you within the few days after today's conclusion. Next, be aware that we are recording today's event. We may share the recording or presentation via email or departmental website in the future. Your participation in this event acts as your consent to be recorded during today's presentation. You can be on video, you can have your video off, whatever you feel comfortable with. Next, if you have questions, you may use the drop box, the chat box at any point in time, and I'm sure by the end, Blade and Erica will make sure to answer any questions that there are. Lastly, please remember the Hornet Honor Code promotes honesty, integrity, respect, and care for every person. I'm sure it goes without being said, but please keep all comments appropriate or we may need to remove you at any point in time without future warning. This session is scheduled to end by 11:30 a.m. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome Blade Butler to the virtual stage.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Let me go ahead and share my screen with all of you. And we'll get started. Perfect. So at one point or another, you probably have thought, what does someone else think about me? And that's really a completely normal thing to ask. And in fact, companies do it every single day. Both companies and people build brands. And those are the stories that they tell about themselves that are perceived by others. Hello, my name is Blade Butler and I'm with TTI, and today I would love to talk to you about the importance of building your personal brand and how that can be perceived by others. So kind of first start off, I wanted to go through a different, just an exercise. So first off, let's think of your favorite brand that you have. You know, it could be really any brand or company that you like. You know, why really is that your favorite brand? And what is your least favorite brand? And why is that your least favorite brand? And you're probably asking, you know, Blade, I don't know. It's probably just a gut instinct. And that is actually intentional by those companies. They spend a lot of time, resources, money developing that internal gut feeling. And it all starts out with the why. Why really talks about the values, the mission, and what the companies want to be perceived about themselves. From there, we grow into the how. How are we telling our story? How are our actions showing what we care about? And then companies go further into what. These are the specific things that they do. This is developed from Simon Sinek, and his philosophy is start with why. Start with why, build out to the how, and then go from to what. So let's go ahead and do some exercises. So first off, I'm going to show and throw up a couple different companies, and I want you to really just kind of write down or take a mental note of what is the very first thing that you think of when you see these companies and their brands. So first off, Apple. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Apple? Disney, Snapchat, and Google. And of course, we had to throw in one of our own brands, Milwaukee Power Tools. So those are some of the companies, and you're probably asking yourself, okay, Apple, oh, innovation, design. Those are some of the important things that you just naturally think about when you hear or see the Apple symbol on the back of a computer. But those are companies. They spend a lot of time developing those. But people have their own personal brands as well. So let's go into some celebrities that have, they've really thought about this exact same thing of how to build their brand. So for instance, Beyonce, Tom Brady, a little different, Miley Cyrus, and also Elon Musk. So Elon Musk is a person that is a great example of someone that really thinks of themselves as a personal brand and how to attach that to the companies that they help run. So Tesla, SpaceX, very innovative and future-looking companies. And that's very intentional that his brand is represented by the companies that he helps run. So we talked about companies and their brands. We talked about individual people and how their brands are perceived. Let's bring it back to you. How is your personal brand, and what are you currently thinking about for yourself, and what do you want people to think about you when they think of you as an individual? And for that, I will pass it over to Erica.
Hi everyone, thank you, Blade. As Blade said, my name is Erica Bennett. I am also a territory manager with TTI, and we're gonna flip it over, right? So we've learned about companies' brands and what they want people to think. We've talked about celebrities and we want them to think. I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to be a celebrity. I'm not a celebrity. I'm me, right? So if we take it back to those words on the screen, right? I want you guys, and you guys can take your mics off. I want you to get a little bit interactive and think about what words do you think that you exemplify on the screen? Go ahead and shout some out.
I would say ambitious for me.
Ambitious. Awesome. What else?
Hardworking.
Hardworking. Excellent. Determined. Excellent traits. Now we thought about what we want to think about ourselves. What words on there do we want others to think about? When your name is thrown out there, how do you want other people to react? What words do you want them to throw out if your name is being discussed, right? I want to be known as visionary, considerate, maybe knowledgeable. Those are a few words that we want to exemplify, as well as we want other people to understand what we are. And that's, in a sense, how we create our personal branding. Those words right there are what we call values, right? Companies have mission statements. Those are the things that they value, right? Things hardworking, visionary, determined. Those are my values. And now we go into the how. How are we exemplifying these values? Well, we can look at it 3 different ways. We have digital footprint, we have physical perception, and we have communication. So let's start with communication. Communication has changed so much, from getting our news into the newspaper to having delivered right on our phone, to getting on the television, and even getting it to email. So let's do one thing that's really popular in the corporate world and also now with school is email, right? Companies, you're going to be emailing companies talking about yourself, and these are your first impressions with communication. This is showing your personal brand in a sense, right? So let's take a look at this email that you see on the screen. Hey, I would heart to work for your company. I know it sounds like no one would ever do that, but trust me, we get these emails. I don't know about you, but the only things that I see on that screen are spelling errors, run-on sentences, and a ton of reallys. And the first thing that's gonna pop into a recruiter's mind if you send out that email is, would I want this person to represent my brand? Now, if you guys were in my shoes, would you want this person representing your company? Probably not.
To know is the email that you send it from. So surferkid411@gmail.com, probably not the most professional. And, you know, unfortunately, we've got our emails from long ago, probably when we were in middle school. So make sure you have a more professional email that you're doing business.
I'll be honest, my first email was monkeycan'do@hotmail.com. I've now changed it to my first and last name at gmail.com. So it's okay to have those emails, right? We just got to understand those minor details do make a huge impact on how we present ourselves. Now let's look at Alexander Doe, right? Hey, Mr. Fitzgerald, recently attended a class presentation. This is how she knows about us, right? She's taken a step further, taken a step to our website, learned a little bit more about us. That means I can tell that she actually cares. It's not a mass email that they're sending out to companies. And she's asking for an interview. From my point of view, it's a very clean, professional, straight to the point email. I would definitely give her an interview, or at least a bit of my time to get to know her and see if she'd be a good fit for our company. So that's through communication. Let's talk about physical perception, right? How we dress, you know, are we going to career fairs and wearing baggy sweatshirts and sweatpants? Probably not the best idea, right? We ever heard of that cheesy saying, dress to impress or dress for that job that you want? That is something that goes such a long way, right? You want to have that firm handshake. You want to have that confident posture. You want to be taken seriously, right? So impress yourself with dressing for that part and dressing for that role that you are trying to go out for. Now let's look at body language. Body language is probably something that has no sound yet speaks volumes, right? And it's making a huge exemplification today in this world, right? On Zoom, we've had to change the way, right? With these classes, being engaged, you know, are you the person that has the video off, or are you actually looking engaged, taking notes? These are the things that people notice, right? If I was giving this presentation and I was slumping in my chair, or I had my hand like this, maybe checking the watch, you guys wouldn't take me seriously, right? You have to present yourself in a way that you want to be perceived. I want to be taken seriously. I want to give you guys the best knowledge and best information forward to make yourself successful. The way you present yourself in this world speaks volumes, and we have to change it a little bit because of everything being online. Digital footprint, right? Now, a lot of companies look at these as well as LinkedIn. We do have professional as well as our social media. Some companies like to overcross it. Thankfully, at TTI, we don't. However, it is something to think about. How are you presenting yourself on your digital platform? Are the things that you value? Are the things that you post? Usually the things that we're liking, sharing, commenting on is the things that we care about, the things we want to voice our opinions. But are we doing it in either a respectful or presentful way that if someone else were to look at that, they would think highly of us? How would they think of us if they were to come across things that we're posting or sharing? Now looking at digital platforms and looking at more LinkedIn, let's show how we want to present ourselves on a professional platform. So this is Ian Korolenko. He is our national training manager here at TTI. And if you just look at his LinkedIn in full, you can see a clear-cut headshot, right? He's dressed to impress. There's nothing funny going on in the background, a warm smile. I can tell where he works at, right? I can tell what he has done with his roles here at TTI. And also, I can tell the things that he values. What is he about, right? These are the things that we should be sharing, because not only is it going to help you, but it's also going to put you in the right place with the company, right? You're going to be spending 40 hours plus hours with a week with the company. You want to make sure it's going to be the best fit for you. So exemplifying those values, exemplifying things that you care about, things that you enjoy, are really only going to help you in the long run when it comes to that digital platform and communication and our values.
And to build off further, LinkedIn is an incredibly important platform right now, especially with you. It's harder for students, newer graduates, to really get out in front of employers, and employers are hiring and they're searching through LinkedIn. So please make sure you have your updated information, your headshots, your resume on there, and a way for us to get in contact with you. Because, you know, if we like a lot of the skills that you have, what you went to school for, a lot of companies will private message you. And so you got to make sure that it is up to date and it is showing the values that you care for.
Absolutely. That is such an excellent point. So bringing it back, right? Looking at those words that we saw on a screen, those are our values. Now we're going into how we exemplify those values, right? Through digital footprint, physical perception, communication. Then we're going into the what. Those are our actions. What are we doing on each individual thing that we talked about? And that is what creates your personal branding. So I want to challenge you. If you're not where you're at or you are still working on it, keep going, right? Keep working on these things. I'll admit, my LinkedIn wasn't the best. I've had to change that. You know, you can sit and just let it stay there, or you can step into action and create those things to what you want it to be. You're on mute, Blade.
There we go. Constant learning curve with the new technology. So now we'll take it over and talk a little bit how all of this branding affects our company at TTI. So as you can see, most people have probably never heard of TTI or Tektronic Industries, but here are some of the brands that we represent and that we own. So Milwaukee Power Tools. So we talked about branding. Very first thing that we want people to think of is disruptive innovation. It's the very first thing you see when you walk into our corporate center, and it is all the way through from every single thing that we do. From developing our products, we want it to be the next thing that's going to make our tools more impactful, cheaper, faster, you know, bigger, better, faster, stronger. And we also want how we go about the employees in the company. We want to make sure we're always pushing the edge and leading in the segments that we build tools for. Some of the other brands, Ryobi is the world's largest, more homeowner platform for power tools, ranging from outdoor to everything in power tools. We also have our floor care and appliances, such as Hoover, Dirt Devil, Oric vacuums. So probably a majority of you maybe even have one of our brands inside of your home. So we are a nearly $8 billion a year company, which is quite a large company for people not even knowing who we are. We're about double the size of Under Armour, to put that into perspective. So I am wearing Under Armour. So we have close to 30,000 employees with the company. We are constantly launching new products so much faster than our competitors, and more than a third of our sales is generated from new products. And that's why we're doing over 30% sales growth this year so far, which is crazy. $8 billion, add 30% to that. So we have a lot of opportunities with our company. So to give you a little bit of background of who we are, we started in 1985, did some building for Craftsman Power Tools back in the 90s. Really, it started when we did our partnership with Home Depot in the year 2000. Since then, we acquired quite a few different brands and reinvented them, such as Ryobi in 2002, Milwaukee in 2005. And then from there, we really grew those brands into what they are today. And most recently, in 2019, we created an entire new brand for Walmart called Heart. So that is another huge factor for our continued growth, is to be inside of the world's largest retailers, which is very exciting. So you're probably wondering, okay, how does this relate to me? I'm in school, you know, I'm going to be looking for a job, you know, after I graduate. And it really starts with our event marketing specialists. And so that's really what we're here talking to you about, is really how to potentially join our company and how to grow with us throughout the future. So event marketing specialist, this acts as more of a brand ambassador. This is more of a learning role where you work directly for one of our brands, such as Ryobi or Heart. Here you are representing our brands inside of our retail locations training associates on our product knowledge, holding large-scale demo events, working with store management level to try to get additional merchandising space, and really learning as much as you can in this first role about our company, our brands, and consumers. From there, you would move up to field sales and marketing representative position. This opens you up to all of our different brands and an account that you would take care of. When I was in this role in Sacramento, I oversaw about a $10 million business just in the 5 retail locations that I oversaw. So definitely a lot of responsibility. And then from there, this is when you really have a fast track into the different divisions that you are interested in. So if you're interested in sales, you can work directly for Milwaukee, working in outside accounts. You can go into management. So that's where I am, territory manager, soon to be hopefully regional manager. And then you can also go into the marketing path, which is, marketing coordinator, brand manager, operations, HR, you name it, you can go there. But one thing I really appreciate about this company is you're not stuck in one of those career paths. You can go to any one that you want. So I moved up into the management route. Then I also want to explore sales, and then potentially after that, go back into and being a product manager, which would be very exciting. So going back to that first role, event marketing specialist, again, just to reiterate, this is for you to learn as much as you can about our brands, hosting large scale events with customers. And it's a really cool industry. People like power tools. It's not like you're selling office furniture or whatnot. People are coming in for these products. We have 3 out of the 5 brands. And so really just advising, helping, and making sure we are representing our brands as best as possible. We really work on building the fundamental skills to not make you successful just in this role, but in future roles down the road. So organization, time management, communication, relationship building, market analysis, creative merchandising, all those different things. We really build and have an excellent training program to make you successful. Also, just another perk, I don't think I have a slide on it. We do provide a company vehicle to all of our field reps. So I haven't paid gas. I don't even know what gas costs in the last 2.5 years, which is super cool. So I use that for personal time, free gas, maintenance, everything, company phone, and whatnot as well. So you're probably wondering, okay, maybe I don't graduate in December. We also have a really excellent summer internship program. So this is a 10-week program where you're partnered with a corporate mentor, also a field mentor, and you go through sales analysis, marketing, how we deliver our brand effectively to our customers, management, building relationships, and at the very end of this 10-week program, we typically fly all the interns back to our corporate office where they present on their ideas of how we can make things better in our organization, which is very exciting that our directors, VPs, and executives are listening to the internships, which is very cool. So that was just a brief overview of all the different opportunities that TTI has. Hopefully you learned a little bit about corporate branding all the way from personal branding and how much that has an impact as you go through and advance your careers on your next journey after you graduate. We would love to learn a little bit more about you as well. Please text SAC to 443-300-4093. This is a great way to keep in contact with us. Also, you can take out your phone, take a screenshot. This is my information right here. Feel free, send me an email, send me your resume. I would be happy to give you resume advice or how to prepare for the career fair, interview best practices. So even if you're not, maybe TTI isn't the right fit for you, I'm here to help you out. I went to Sac State. I did my general management. I also did my MBA at Sac State, live in Midtown currently. And so I want to make sure that I'm helping all of my, all the students here at Sac State. But perfect. I think that was all that we had, but I would love to answer all the great questions that you guys have. And we'll just open it up from here.
Feel free to drop any questions in the chat box or just go ahead and turn on your mic or camera and pop on and let us know what questions you have.
Hello, this is Kenna.
Hey, Kenna.
Hello.
So I'm a supply chain management student, and I wanted to know, I saw that you have a lot of sales and marketing, and so supply chain is under marketing, but I wonder if you have supply chain specific positions that you fast track for, or if you do any internships that would be related to that.
Yeah, so I'll be able to answer that. So in these first roles, so you start out as event EMS or event marketing specialist, then go into the field sales marketing representative position. This is why we have this organization set up this way, is for everybody to really get a solid grasp of our brand and who we are and who our customers are. And then from there, you can go into more of the specialized region that you're looking for. So for instance, you want to do more supply chain. So that's all going to be back at one of our corporate centers, which is going to be either in Milwaukee, Wisconsin or Anderson, South Carolina. And I don't know about you, Erica, but I get about 10 emails a day of new positions that become available. A lot of them are back at the corporate centers. And we do have a lot of supply chain and logistics type of jobs back there.
Okay, thank you.
Erica, can I go ahead and ask you a question?
Absolutely.
I know before when you were talking about personal branding and especially using sites like LinkedIn and the importance of that, and you had mentioned that, you know, that wasn't always a strength of yours. Sometimes we can tend to just let it sit, right? So
Right.
what do you have as advice to our students about how to make sure that they're upkeeping that? And what are some other ways that they can utilize that platform, maybe just beyond kind of listing their experience and history, to make that stand out a bit more to employers?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing for sure is always have your resume up there, right? And we should be constantly working on our resume. If we're doing internships, if we're volunteering, you know, add that. Make sure we're constantly adding value to not only our LinkedIn platform, as well as our resume, right? Because that's the one documentation that's going to be handed to the recruiter. So the way I started building it is obviously LinkedIn does a great job of saying kind of like, what's the next step? How can we make your profile a little bit better, right? One thing could be, what's the thing that they do where they validate, someone validates your skill set, right? I don't
yeah,
know.
nominate
See,
you
this
for
is how
skills.
unclear I am with LinkedIn, right? I'm still learning. So think little things like that, right? You know, utilize this group, you know, say, hey guys, will you guys validate me for the skill set? Will you guys, you know, write a review about me? Like, use your community that you're using on campus to build yourself up, right? And the way I do it, if I was a student, right, and if I was doing a virtual career fair, this is one thing I would do. I would list all the companies that I was interested in seeing at the virtual career fair, and I would go through the career fair and look at these specific companies on LinkedIn. You know, maybe they have people that are in Sacramento, like, so Blade and I would probably pop up as Sacramento managers for TTI. I would connect with them, right? I would, you know, send them a message, say, hey, I'm eager to learn more. I will be at the career fair. You know, taking those extra steps, those initiative instead, doing that pre-work before the career fair. Because really, the career fair, in a sense, is the final, right? We want to be studying. We want to be, you know, taking our notes, making sure that we're prepared. And so once we go into the career fair, it's game time, right? We're working with recruiters. We're working. We're showcasing who we are and what we have. So really, it's that preparation, using that LinkedIn and your resume as a growing project. So like when it comes to these career fairs or just, you know, one-on-ones with recruiters, you're able to showcase that work that you've done building up to that. Does that kind of answer your question, Nicole?
Yes, that's great. I was just looking for some additional perspective. I know that's a fault that I often fall into as well. I think we tend to get busy and maybe don't revert back as often as we should, and then we kind of lose some of those things that we could have captured. So
yeah, absolutely.
Our students to be best prepared for that.
I think I kind of made the mistake when I was a student at Sac State just a few years ago, is not taking the career fair as seriously. Companies are there to hire people, and we will hire someone right now, literally this week, for in December graduates. And so, you know, people don't think like, oh, I'm not available yet. Companies are interested. I still have a few more months until I graduate or become available. Companies know that. They're on campus. They know when you graduate. And so they're there to really get to know the students. And so really preparing for the career fair is a lot more important than probably what I realized when I was a student. when I so more waited until I graduated to start looking, and then it takes a few more months after that. So really preparation is key to finding a career once you graduate.
That's actually one of the great things about our major is we have a very high percentage of students who already have placed into a career before they graduate. And so being on top of it and taking those things seriously, absolutely, I think sets our students apart is a great tip.
Awesome.
All right, do we have any other student questions? It can be about personal branding, it can be about internships or career opportunities. This is a great time to pick these folks' brains.
Yes, I actually have a question. I will graduate in May, so I was wondering if you would recommend to apply maybe for the summer internship, or will there be maybe a job available for the summertime? Yeah, kind of to see what are your opinion on that, and what are the best steps?
Yeah. So typically the internships are for juniors going into their senior year. So they do the internship program, then they generally have at least 1 or 2 semesters left after that. And just let you know, at the end of our internship programs, you know, probably more than half of the interns are actually already offered jobs from the internship. So how nice would that be going into your last year of school, knowing you already have a job secured? You could just kind of kick back and, you know, do your study work, and you have it all nailed down. As in your case, graduating in May, I would still connect with us at the career fair, make sure that we're staying in contact. The internship probably wouldn't be the most applicable to your situation. So we'd probably, you know, go through the whole interview process and whatnot, and more of getting the job come May time. So kind of bypassing the internship program.
Thank you. I actually have another question.
Of course.
Just about, I'm interested in continuing my education as well. So I was wondering if your company supports that, and if there is any kind of incentive as of like maybe flexibility or anything like that to continue my studies.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that I love about our company is, you know, training and developing is really to our core beliefs as a company, and how we can be better just as humans, and our employees or better than our competition is education. And we do have if you want to go to and get a graduate degree, we do offer tuition assistance as well for that. I don't know the exact details. I believe it's, you know, you have to stay within the company for so long and whatnot. There's certain stipulations, which is pretty standard for any kind of tuition reimbursement, but we do actually offer that as well. And if you do decide to want to move out of state, or, you know, down south to LA, we do have a relocation bonus as well.
Awesome. Yes, I actually used to live in Milwaukee, and
Oh, cool.
I love it. So it's definitely not out of the, I wouldn't mind moving back there. So that's very, very cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course. Do you know where our corporate office is in Brookfield? Technically right outside Milwaukee.
Yeah. Brookfield. Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hi, I had a question as well.
Mhm.
I'm Diksha. I had a question about your internship opportunities. So kind of talk to me more about that during the virtual time. How are you going to be conducting that? What are the learning opportunities and all that?
So yeah, that in this new environment that we find ourselves living in, a lot of things have gone virtual. So in areas of our like corporate office, a lot of everything that we can go virtual, that we have to be mindful of the current situation that we're in with COVID-19. As far as our internship program, that would be out in the field, working in the retail locations. We do provide proper training, masks, disinfectants, hand sanitizer, everything like that. And we do practice social distancing with customers, but we are, you know, out in the field.
Thank you.
Of course, great question.
I have a question. So my name's Jose, and what I'm wondering is, so I saw you talked a little bit about like the progression of roles, one of the things I was wondering is generally, how long does it take to move up in one of those roles?
Absolutely. So generally people stay in the first EMS position for 6 months to a year. Again, it's not a time-based system of when you have the opportunity to promote. It's when you're ready. And so if you're a clear rock star and you got it down in 3 months, 4 months, you have the opportunity to move up. So a great example is one of my previous reps that's now a manager is Gabby. So she started with us in January as an EMS overdriving our outdoor division. She moved into the Napa location as a field sales and marketing representative, I think about 4 months later. And then just recently she was promoted again to a territory manager overseeing all of California and Oregon with a sales team of about 15. And she's been with the company for about 10 months. So that's kind of on the extreme side of
that's not typical.
yeah. For instance, I was a field sales and marketing representative for 1.5 years before I became a territory manager. And then Erica, you started out as EMS and then moved up FSMR and then territory manager. How long have you been with the company?
I was an EMS for about 5 months. Then I was a rep for 1 year, and now I'm a territory manager. So I've been with the company. It'll be 2 years in February 2021. So in less than 2 years, I'm already in my 3rd role.
And one more question too is, so in that starting role, it sounded like you mentioned you have to like show products, like some sort of product demonstration. So is your performance in that role based on your number of sales at all?
You want to take that, Erica?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are not like, one thing that I really liked about this company is we are, at least for the first role, it's not a quota based. The reason why we have everybody start in that role is because no matter what pathway you go for, you really need to understand the business on the floor level, right? Maybe sales is not your thing, right? We don't expect everybody to be excel at sales, right? But you need to understand what our products do. If you want to manage a team that's going to be selling the product, if you're going to be part of our marketing team that's going to be marketing our products, or if you're going to go into that sales role, right? The reason why we have everybody start in that role in a sense is because it prepares you for those next roles. One thing you'll see if you ever get interviews with our company is we never say we're hiring for that first role. We are hiring for multiple roles down the line, right? Going into those pathways of sales, management, marketing, you know? I was told probably 5 times that they were not hiring me for this EMS role, right? We see more future potential in you. We want to hire leaders. We want to see how far is this person going to go? Like what pathway is this person going to go? That's the level that we're thinking. So with that first position as event marketing specialist and a field and sales marketing representative, it's just to get you to understand what our business is about.
That's a great example. I remember my first day when I started with the company, my manager asked, so what do you want to do next? And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't even know anything about this position. What do you mean what's next? Like, it's because we really hire people, again, for those 4 or 5 positions down the road, you know, who can be a divisional director or sales director overseeing a $500 million business like our boss, or who can oversee an entire product or brand category. Those are the people that we're looking to try to bring on as part of our leadership development program. And to be honest, if we only see someone maybe only going to these first or second roles, we're probably not going to necessarily hire them in the first place because we are looking for future leaders.
Fantastic question though, Jose.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's very motivating. Like I know one of the biggest things for me personally is I want to continue to develop my skills professionally. I don't want to stay stagnant, you know, and so I try to look for roles and jobs where I know that I could continue to grow and that I could continue to be challenged. Because I think more than anything, that's where I see the value in school, is not necessarily like the degree, but more so the leadership skills that we get from things like group projects, or even the challenges that arrive, you know, daily, or even this transition to online. So those are kind of the things that I look out for. And so it sounds like there definitely is a lot of space to grow and develop leadership and professionalism. So thank you.
Absolutely.
It's kind of crazy how much experience that you can get pretty quickly with this company. It's just, for instance, as a territory manager, you know, Eric and I both oversee about a $40 million territory, about 10 sales reps in that region, part of the EMS or the field sales marketing representatives. And everything from holding conference calls to motivating the team to making sure we're building them up and developing those skill sets. That I think I've learned a lot about myself, about just professionalism and organization, time, all those different type of fundamental skills. I've learned a significant amount about myself with these last few roles, and I look forward to continue growing. So that's a great point. It was the exact same situation as I was growing. I didn't want to get into a position and then have to wait for my boss to retire or move on or potentially get promoted in 5 years or so, or I would have to jump ship and start over with another company. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to build a career with one organization.
Wade and Erica, what would you say to someone who is concerned about not being very familiar with things like power tools or some of the products that you're serving? What does that training and onboarding look like to make them feel confident?
That's all you, Erica.
So when I first saw TTI, my previous manager, he was talking to me about power tools, and I was like, cool, I'm not going to your booth. I don't know anything about that. Why would you want to hire me, right? That's one thing that kind of shies people away from companies, is maybe they don't know anything about it, right? I saw Hoover and Dirt Devil. I was like, cool, I know my chore day is on like Tuesdays, and I definitely use a Hoover for that, but like knew nothing about it, right? We understand that. We have zero expectations for a college student to know anything about tools. So when I first started with the company, they automatically fly you out to Greenville, South Carolina, and you're learning all about that Ryobi side, right? Learning about all of our outdoor products, how they work, how they run, the specs, the qualities, right? Then we don't stop there. We also fly you out to Milwaukee. That's where you learn about all the Milwaukee tools. Not only do you learn about them and see them, you get to be hands-on with them, right? We want you to understand, you know, what they are and what they do, but we want you guys to be hands-on with them. We actually got to build a corner of a house to scale, doing plumbing, electrical, drywall, all these things that I probably would never do in this company. But the amount of training and the in-depth that they go with you is over the moon, right? I never knew what a circ saw was, never knew what a drywall cutout tool did, right? But now I know what they do, and I can recognize them and I can speak to them. Not only we don't stop there, every week we launch new e-learnings about our products that are going into the market, as well as existing products that we may need to brush up on, as well as every year for Q4, we fly everybody out to specific locations based on where they are in the States. And we get together to learn about the new products as well as other products that we are developing. So the learning never stops. And I think that is why our company is so far advanced as far as the other companies, is because we are investing into this leadership development program, which has skyrocketed our company compared to the competitors. So you do not need to know anything about a drill.
Great, thank you. I'm sure, I know that would be on my mind, so I would not be surprised if it were on some of our students' minds. All right.
And that's one of the differences is I started out as a field sales and marketing representative position just a few years ago, and we didn't really have an EMS position at that point. And so since then, now we have over 500 EMS positions that we're launching just for this year, which is crazy to see that program growing. And one thing I really like about that new kind of organizational structure with the EMS program is that you have a mentor of that field sales marketing representative in those locations to help you with that product knowledge. If you have a question, you can go to them. We're also part of a team organization, team chats, team conference calls. You can always call your manager. It's all local regions. So while it does feel like a large organization, we do bring it back down to a smaller scale to make everyone feel comfortable and that they have mentors that they can go to for questions.
All right, everyone, we have a few more minutes. If anybody has any last questions, I'll pause.
Are you guys looking for seniors, or because I'm a junior, would I be eligible for these internships?
So when do you graduate?
2022.
Okay, so typically in between your junior and senior year, we offer the summer internship program. So it's a 10-week during that time period. And so we are actually currently looking for interns for next summer already. So please make sure you're connecting with us at the career fair because it'd be very cool to have an internship scheduled down and in what are we, October nearly for next summer. So how cool would that be?
I have
Hi.
a question. Oh, sorry.
Go for it. Okay, thank you. So sorry about that. Thank you. So initially I've been hearing that you guys look for leadership qualities in your interns or your employees. What are the qualities that define leadership for your guys' company?
Good one. So I can start off and then Eric could probably kind of build off of that. So leadership is, so we do what's called the DISC profile assessment when we first get hired on with the company, and it really maps who you are as an individual and know where you are. So if you're more of the dominant type, you're, okay, let's get things done X, Y, and Z, or are you more of the social, like more democratic, okay, let's all work together, let's figure this out together, or are you more of the, I think it's conscientious, which is the C, which is more of the data driven. It's like, well, we got to pencil everything out and know, 5 steps down the road before we can make any decision. And so leadership is understanding who you are as an individual and how to flex and to bring yourself to meet other people, especially that's what we do as managers, is we're not expecting other people to change. It's on the managers to adapt themselves to communicate in their style and meet in the middle. And I think that is a lot of what great leaders do, is they don't make everyone else change to the way that they want to do it, is they work with individuals and adapt themselves to that. So that's a little bit of kind of what leadership is when you want to go into management. But as far as kind of what we're looking for when we hire people for those first roles is, were you a president of an organization taking on those additional leadership roles? Do you have any extracurriculars? Are you a team captain in a sports team? We get so many people that play, sports at colleges like, sorry, I don't really have any experiences. And we have to draw that leadership skills out of them. Be like, hey, you're on a team. That's a lot of dedication to be a part of that organization, from being a captain, being organized, being making sure you're showing up on time. There's so many things that could be drawn from that. And I think that's the hardest thing with students. And I had the same thing. I only had 1 or 2 jobs. They, more of the Starbucks type of jobs. How can you showcase leadership just working at kind of one of those more entry-level jobs when now that you're graduating looking for the career? Is you can draw a lot of the skill sets that companies are looking for out of those positions and out of those experiences that you have. Just making sure you're showcasing those instead of just barista. You could put, I was a shift lead and in charge of X, Y, and Z opening the store or whatnot. I've never worked at Starbucks, so I don't know what they do. But just taking those type of skills and applying it. And I think that goes for when you interview. I think that's a lot of interview best practices, is knowing those fundamental skill sets and how you can attach your own individual experiences to showcase those. So hopefully that kind of answered it a little bit in a roundabout way.
Yeah, thank you.
Jose, I believe you still had a question?
Yeah, so going back to the whole, you talked about how it's not necessary to be experienced with power tools, but kind of like conversely, if we do have experience with some of those power tools, would that put us at any advantage? Because for me, I've had jobs where I work with power tools regularly, so I'm familiar with some of the brands that you've mentioned, and I actually have a whole collection sitting at home too. So that's the first thing that stood out to me.
Depends on what the collection is. Just kidding.
Well, like one of those sets, not necessarily a collection, but you know how you can buy like the set that comes with like the drill and a couple songs.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, it puts you at an advantage in a sense. You can speak to clientele more authentically about it, right? Because when I learned about it, I was just spitting out straight facts. It wasn't really until I got hands-on that I understood what the product did, how it compared to them, that I could speak about it authentically, right? So that in a sense is something that you do have an advantage about. Having that background, having that experience, you can speak more authentically and create a different kind of relationship with customers.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Of course.
All right, any last minute questions before we wrap it up? Okay, later, Erica, before I go into our closing, is there anything else that you want to share that maybe you didn't get a chance to in the presentation?
I think the biggest thing is we want everyone that is a part of this to get their best foot forward, and really that starts now. The career fair is next week, the 6th and 7th, am I correct? Tuesday and Wednesday. So making sure you're researching our company if you're interested in, but also every other company that is out there. There's a lot of great companies like TTI that people have no idea, or their first gut instinct is power tools, or I think on Handshake it shows like we're in manufacturing, which is not really representative of what we have and what we offer. So making sure you're not just looking at the companies and immediately writing them off, or be just attracted to these brands that you instantly recognize. Enterprise has a great program as well. We have a very similar program, but you wouldn't necessarily know that unless you did the research. So just make sure you go prepared, sign up for those interview slots. I think they're about 10 minutes long, so you can learn a little bit about each company and just come prepared.
Feel free for anybody on this chat to connect with either Blade or I on LinkedIn. Blade can share my email. I can share my email if you connect with me on LinkedIn, and just kind of create these relationships. I am an open book. You know, if you need help with interview questions or if you want me to look at your resume, I am more than happy to help you guys. So please, if you guys want to take that initiative for your personal or professional career, don't hesitate to reach out to either Blade or I.
And then one last thing is, especially on my LinkedIn, I try to help students as much as I can with interview best practices, what you can do to help land a job. So you can look back on some of my previous posts and kind of get some good ideas, such as like the STAR interview method. If no one has heard of that, it's a great way to structure your responses. And so I have kind of an analysis of how to do that appropriately. So feel free to connect both of us. Thank you, Erica. That was a great point.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, that continued resource, that'll be fantastic for our students. So really quick in summary, I just want to thank everyone again for joining us for Grow with TTI, and thank you, Blade and Erica, for sharing your wisdom and opportunities with our Sac State students. I will be sharing the email sign-in sheet from today's event with Blade so that he can follow up and reach out with any additional resources you want to provide, or if you want to connect with him directly, feel free to do so. This concludes today's event. So everyone have a fantastic week, and we hope to see you all at the career fair next week as well. So take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.